Hey, party people. Let's try this again. I think that my brain isn't as fast and as smart as it could be when it's this hot. Hey, party people. Today is July 22nd, 2018, and it is officially the 3-year anniversary of my very first video upload to YouTube. I will drop a link to that video in the description box below. Check that out. If you are interested, you can do a compare contrast of what 3 years have gotten us. I posted a poll a few weeks ago asking people what they would like for a 3-year anniversary video, and y'all asked for the AMA, the Q&A. It is a grab bag of fashion industry professional questions and personal questions for me. So I mixed them all up. Here we go. Let's start. Number one, I got a bunch of questions on fashion school, and like a bunch of them. And I have a whole playlist called Fashion School. And in that playlist, and I'll drop links to everything in the description box as usual. In that playlist, I have a video called Do You Need School to Be a Fashion Designer? And I answer all the questions that I saw for this AMA in that video and in that playlist. So please do go check those out. Number two, I also got a lot of questions about how much illustration a fashion designer needs to learn to be successful, and what to do if you suck, and what skills are important, and things like that. And I addressed all those questions in last week's video, Do Fashion Designers Need to Learn How to Draw? All right, next one. Okay, so I just read an article about how H&M has around $4 billion of backstock that they're trying to get rid of. How would one approach them about buying part of that stock to rework, to upcycle? I believe this is a direct question from my sustainability video, and I did mention that I didn't know how to go about it. I don't know how to go about it. My guess would be, if you go to about.hm.com, you will see that H&M has made many attempts to be a more sustainable brand, to take on more projects that address sustainability. And so I have a suspicion that if you were to approach them, call them, email them, tap them on Twitter, and wanted to do a collaboration, something where they could get a lot of good press out of trying to be a more sustainable brand, if you propose them an idea that would be beneficial to the both of you, that you could get some interested parties. Next question. My questions are how to get back into work after a career break in fashion. Which courses in CAD would you recommend to upgrade the skills? Okay, first of all, you need to learn Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. Second of all, the things that you need to do to get back into your field. Number one, network. Hit up headhunters, hit up recruiters, go look up job listings, attend as many industry-related events as you can, and get to know people. When you write your cover letters and when you're talking to people, tell them honestly why you took a break, why there is a jump in dates on your resume, and tell them briefly why you think that's good for you and good for the company. Like if you were to apply to a children's wear company because you took a break from your career to have kids, talk about how you learned so much about kids' clothes while you were dressing your own. And then you need to update your portfolio. The biggest thing hiring managers worry about when someone takes a break from working is, are they current? Are they up to date? Do they still keep up with the trends that are happening both in business and in the actual clothes? So you need to make sure your portfolio is super current, up to date. And when hiring managers want to talk to you about what's going on in the industry, that you are up to date on the news. Do you think the fashion industry accepts male designers more than females, or females more than males? Here's the way I see it. To the naked eye, to the layman's eye, it can appear that the fashion industry is a female-dominated industry. You see a lot of women out there, and when you go to fashion school, chances are your classmates will be largely female. I know that when I was going to school and also when I was teaching in university, largely my classmates and my students were female. And even watching this channel, when I look at my analytics, 75% of my audience is female. However, what I have observed reading news and keeping up is that men still dominate the C-level suites in fashion, and men still dominate the creative director positions at the big fashion houses. And so, yeah, the glass ceiling still exists in fashion. It needs a good old smashing. I think that there is room for both genders within fashion, to get back to your original question. How to start your own designer store. You should start by watching my fashion sales playlist. Next question. What school did you go to for fashion? OTIS College of Art and Design. That is in Los Angeles, California, and that might be why people keep thinking I live in LA. I do visit LA once or twice a year. My family lives there. I go there for work, but I don't live in LA. Like, I get random DMs where people are like, Zoe, I'm going to be in LA next week. Can we go get a coffee? I'm like, I don't live in LA, and I will not be there next week. It will be nice if you can give some advices for fashion entrepreneurs about what not to do and how to do things right. What is the good things that you do to improve your business? All right, that's not a question. That's like a year-long course. Honestly, I do think there should be a degree in fashion business. I know you can get an MBA in business, but just like fashion design is designed specifically for fashion, I do think that fashion business is kind of special and different, and it could use its own focused study. But to get back to your question, I mean, there's so many things I could say about it, but this is my number one piece of advice when you're just getting started. The second you decide that you're going to start your own business, that is the second you have to understand that you are no longer a designer, but a business person. And that is for the health of your brand. Business people, they think of the entire company as a whole. They think of the health of the entire company. They balance the needs of all the different departments so that the entire company can thrive. Designers are very wrapped up in design. And not that that's a bad thing, but it is a bad thing if you are also in charge of the whole business and you are not really working on the business because you are too busy being wrapped up in the design. And so you need to, yes, design, but you need to think about the health of your entire company, and you need to think about accounting and pro formas and cost sheets, tech design, production. Like, you need to think about all the things beyond the design purview. I know it's very glamorous to think about having your own line, but that is the reality. The reality is, once you're in charge, which is something people love to think about, it's like, I want to be in charge, but that means you also have to make all the decisions and be in charge of all the departments that you may not really be interested in. But if you're going into business, it doesn't matter. You have to be interested in them, all departments. Okay, there's like a whole bunch of questions here related to my childhood. When did you get interested in fashion? When did you get into the art industry? Specifically, when did you become interested in a career in art? When did you first decide you wanted to study fashion and make it your career? You mentioned you lived in Alaska. Why did you move? Okay, when did you get interested in fashion? I don't know. I have been interested in pretty dresses and clothes and fashion as long as I can remember. I used to steal my mom's fashion magazines. Here's a photo of me playing outside with my mom's JCPenney's catalog. And I remember, I just love looking at all the pretty dresses. This was the 80s, and so the bridal dresses with the giant lacy beaded Lego mutton sleeves and the little pointed tiaras that came across your forehead, like that was the thing, right? Everything was so pretty, and you know, the 80s, everything was so colorful. Yeah, I was obsessed with staying at home and reading fashion magazines, and then finally my parents would kick me out and be like, go get some sunshine, and I would take magazines and that damn catalog with me outside. I had this 8-pack of Crayola markers, and I drew constantly in these old beat up composition books, little red triangle dresses and whatever. Like, I started taking art classes when I got to high school, my freshman year of high school. My first internship was my senior year of high school. I worked at the costume design department of my hometown's opera house, and that was amazing. I did that for almost the entire school year, my senior year. It was fantastic. I learned so much in that internship. And then I left Alaska to go to college. I love Alaska, but there's no fashion industry there, and there were no schools there that was offering a fashion design program. So I went to LA, I went to OTIS, went to school. I've been back to visit a few times, but my family moved to LA after I moved, so I don't have that regular excuse to go visit. But you know what? If UAA was like, hey Zoe, come on up for a couple weeks and teach a fashion design workshop. We'll fly you up here so you can teach the course. I would take that job in a heartbeat. So hey UAA, call me. Next question. When did you make your first fashion illustration? Please show it. Or should I say, please show it. Number 2, how was drawing when you were around 15 years old? How long did it take for you to get better at illustrating? I ask this because I'm struggling with thinking I won't get better in time for college applications. Okay, like I said before, I drew all throughout my childhood, cute little people wearing dresses. The oldest stuff I have is from high school, and I made a video showing all of my old work called My Old Sketches, and that video is in my Fun Stuff playlist. If you're really curious, you can go visit that video and see how I've progressed over the years. But it's not really like I want to encourage you to do that and think that you're going to get the same level of progress. And I'm not saying that because I think, oh, I'm so better and I just have this natural talent, so you shouldn't expect to be as good as me. That's not it at all. Everyone is going to learn and improve at different rates, depending on a million factors. How much background art classes you had before, what kind of instruction you receive, and whether or not you mesh with the teacher and their teaching style, how much time and energy you have to devote to your studies, just so many things, so that you cannot compare your life story to my life story. We just have 2 completely different life stories. What I would recommend if you are worried about your college applications is to go research some fashion schools that you would be interested in applying to. Go look up their portfolio requirements, contact their admissions department, see what they are looking for, and then see how much you have to grow, what things you have to learn to meet their portfolio requirements, and then possibly take some classes at the local junior college, community college, if you need more instruction. My question would be how to deal better with criticism from professionals you respect. I'm a crying mess anytime I feel like I'm not delivering up to standards, and I know it's such a dumb thing, but I still have a hard time with it. First of all, this is so hard, and it is not a dumb thing at all. Raise your hand if you have been an emotional wreck after a bad crit. I would raise a third arm if I had one, right? We've all been there, and I'm not even just talking about artists and designers. Like, I know people who have been defending their PhD dissertations and come out of it crying, okay? So we've all been there where someone has critiqued our work and they have found it lacking and you are upset. We've all been there, so don't feel like it's a dumb thing. It is a difficult thing. Some people are better at it, have thicker skin, what have you. The only advice I can really offer you is to think of it this way. You are not your work, and your work is not you. So maybe you turned in a bad project, maybe, you had a bad few weeks, but that is not a reflection of you, that is a reflection of your work. So just because someone says this is a shitty drawing, that doesn't make you a shitty person. It's like you had a bad drawing. That was a bad drawing. They're going to pick it apart and you're going to learn from it. But your drawing's bad line quality doesn't mean that you're a bad person. And so I think that really helps when you can separate the work from who you are as a person. Good luck. How do you decide the number of clothes for a collection? How do you decide the market you're going for, especially when your designs are versatile? Number one, number of clothes. This is such an open-ended question. I have no answer for that. It really depends on, like when you're first getting started, you should keep your collection as small as you can. If you're debuting jeans, I would say start with, 2 washes and 3 cuts. And you may be thinking, wow, that's super, super small. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know, you're learning. Even if you have a lot of income at your disposal, chances are, especially if this is your first company and if you haven't had a lot of design experience, that starting small will help you. You learn these washes, you learn construction, and even if you have experience in it, there's nothing like spending your own dollar on these things. You are going to make costly mistakes your first season. There's no way around it. Everyone makes costly mistakes their first season. So kind of keep that to a minimum and start small and start adding pieces slowly. And when I say, let's say if you do like 6 blouses in your first collection, they should not be 6 different fabrications, because think about fabric minimum order quantities. Think about sourcing your whole supply chain, all these things. So think like 6 blouses, maybe 3 colorways with 2 different fabrications or something small like that. Keeping things manageable will help you keep your head on straight when everything is brand new. As for market, I always say look for the audience that is not being dressed. Who is having a hard time finding clothes to wear? For example, my best friend is a 6'1" black man with a big round butt. And when he buys jeans, he has to go up a waist size to make sure that there's enough room around the butt to accommodate him. And so we were talking about what are some labels that accommodate a round male butt who doesn't have hips. Okay, there are brands that address apple bottom jeans, big round butts, but they have hips because women often have hips, whereas men often do not, but they can have butts that stick out fairly far. And it's like, you know what? That is really not that rare. There are a lot of dudes out there who have narrow hips and a round butt. Why aren't there more pants that accommodate these people? Go dress the underserved. Entering an already flooded market is a recipe for disaster. Can industrial fashion be environmentally friendly / vegan in your opinion? I mean, is it possible? Next question. I'm a high school student and I just started to be really interested in fashion design. However, I personally don't wear clothing that comes from animals. I was wondering if I could avoid working with animal products in my clothes or if that would be too difficult. Okay. I lumped those two together. To start, environmentally friendly is not the same as vegan. All kinds of pesticides are used to grow cotton, and cotton is vegan, and these pesticides are terrible for the environment. That's the difference between conventional and organic cotton. In organic farming, these pesticides aren't used. So make sure you are separating those terms. They are not the same. They are not interchangeable. But yeah, you could do all sorts of things that are, there are a lot of sustainable options out there. Please do go watch my 15 ways to be a sustainable fashion designer without stifling your creativity video. And yeah, there are lots of things you could do without animal products. A lot of people are, even the big fashion houses, they are opting out of fur. There are a lot of leather options out there. There are companies that are making leather type textured materials out of pineapple harvest waste, fruit, mushrooms, soy, all these things. And then you could do entire collections with plant-based fibers, cotton, linen, hemp, jute, ramie. And these fibers, especially cotton, they are very versatile, and you can do heavy bottom weights, you can do very thin summer blouse weights with these things, all these different textures. What's your favorite / least favorite thing about going the YouTube route full time? Anything you wish you'd done differently? Number one, the favorite is the teaching. I love teaching. The teaching is the best. Least favorite, some of the comments, you know how it is. What I wish I'd done differently. Started sooner. You know, I was teaching at university while I was prepping for this channel, and I had no social media presence beyond, like personal Twitter accounts. You have a few hundred followers and you have your Facebook account. But beyond that, I had no real social media presence. And I was trying to figure out the whole social media thing and the video making thing and how YouTube worked and all these things. And I will admit that I dragged out the research process a little bit because I wanted to make sure I was ready, right? I was a little bit scared. But I wish I just gotten started and just learned those lessons and just plowed through. What would you be doing if you weren't teaching on YouTube? Obviously, still something fashion related, but what? I'd probably be still teaching in university. When I first started my YouTube channel, I had already been teaching for a few years, fashion design, illustration, color theory, and I took freelance fashion design and illustration gigs on the side. After a while, I didn't quit university because I hated it. I enjoyed the classroom very much, and I do occasionally miss it. I quit because I was doing YouTube and university at the same time, and YouTube was kind of taking over. The channel was taking off. More opportunities were dropping into my lap directly from my YouTube channel. And the YouTube route was offering me more opportunities to fulfill my long-term goals, which in short involves teaching more people more things. Oh my God, it is getting so hot in here, y'all. Whew. These studio lights are not helping. Not helping. Other than fashion design, do you engage in other artistic endeavors? Music, writing, oils, and does it help inspire you? Oh, did you know I am a gifted guitarist? Kidding! That's just a picture I took with one of my friend's guitars. He has, for some reason, like 12 to 15 guitars. And that's it. I don't really have non-fashion pursuits. I work a lot and I'm a little bit obsessed with fashion. And by a little, I mean a lot obsessed with fashion and fashion-related things. And, I love to travel and learn other fashion-related things in my spare time, like the trips I took to Japan to study indigo and kimono making and Japanese craft. Sometimes I upcycle my wardrobe for funsies, but those are all like fashion-related. I don't really have regular hobbies. I enjoy cooking as like a fun Zen thing, like a kind of a stress relief, but it's not this kind of artistic, inspiring activity that I do. I find travel inspiring in general, but the thing is, I don't think about inspiration the same way a lot of other people think of inspiration. I personally think that inspiration comes from your mental state. If you are in the right mental state to accept inspiration, you can look at a dumb old box on the street and feel inspired. And that's a true story. Like, I have been inspired by a box I saw on the sidewalk. But if you are not feeling it, it doesn't matter if you're at the most amazing museum or you're looking at the most beautiful landscape, up on these cliffs or what have you. If you are not in the right mental state to receive it, then it's not going to happen. And your question might be, well, Zoe, how do I know I'm in the right mental state? What mental state is that? And that is different for everybody. And so you have to go through certain life experiences and try new things to really see what it is that gets you going. Have you ever had a time when you really considered quitting fashion? No. Have I had super terrible days where I come home and I throw an adult temper tantrum and I'm like, I hate fashion and I'm quitting and this is the worst and what made me think I wanted to be in this industry? Oh yeah, I've totally had those days. Ask my husband. That man has the patience of 17 saints combined. But those moods have never lasted for more than like 12 hours. And yeah, I have quit jobs when, serious assessing and you're like, oh no, this is really making me like hardcore miserable. And it would be the job and not fashion. you know? And I have, you know, completed freelance gigs and just decided I am never working with that client again. Woo! But to quit the entire industry, no, that has never been a serious consideration. When will you visit India? We'll love to meet you. I will visit India when a university hires me and flies me out to teach a class or a series of classes. I would love to do that. One of my big goals is to travel the world teaching, but I do need a school to be funding this traveling, to travel and teach and stuff. And I love teaching and I love traveling. I would love to put those things together. So if you live somewhere where you want me to teach a class, bring it up with your school and, you know, approach me with a plan. Are you happy? Yes. Thank you so much for asking. That's the end of the questions. Thank you so much for your support over the years. And as a little gift for all the ones who have stayed through this whole video and watched all the way through, I have an Etsy coupon code for you. Please enjoy 33% off anything in my Etsy store at zoehong.etsy.com. And the coupon code is 3 years. The number 3, YEARS. And the last date of the sale is August 3rd, 2018. So again, thank you for all your support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all your kind comments. And it's been a wild ride. Yeah, 260 videos, man. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.